I found the recording on a Tuesday. Not because I was looking for it. I was dropping off a casserole. Cora said she had a cold. That was her excuse for not calling me back in 4 days. So I did what I've always done. I drove 30 minutes with a hot dish in the passenger seat, wrapped in a towel so it wouldn't burn my legs. She wasn't sick. She was at her kitchen table with her laptop open and a pair of headphones on. She didn't hear me knock. I used my key, the one she gave me 3 years ago when she said, "You're always welcome, Mom." I stood in her entryway for maybe 15 seconds before she looked up. Her face went through 4 expressions in half a second. Surprise. Annoyance. Calculation. Then a smile that didn't reach her jaw. "Mom. You scared me." I held up the casserole. She closed her laptop. Fast. Too fast. That night, I couldn't sleep. Something about the way she moved the laptop, like she was hiding a screen she didn't want me to see. I told myself I was being paranoid. That's what mothers do. We invent problems because we love too much. But I went back the next day when she was at work. I still had the key. The laptop was in her bedroom. Open. A recording app on the screen. A file named mom_funeral_edit.mp4. I played it. It was my voice. But slower. Hesitant. Repeating the same question about my late husband's funeral 3 times. Pauses where I didn't remember pausing. I listened twice. Then I noticed the timestamp. She recorded me 6 months ago, when I thought we were having a private conversation about grief. She cut out every sentence where I sounded normal. I sat in Cora's bedroom for 20 minutes after that. Not crying. Thinking. Because something wasn't matching. The woman on that recording sounded confused. Lost. Like she didn't know what year it was or who had died. That wasn't me. I remembered that conversation perfectly. It was a Tuesday. Rainy. I had called Cora because the anniversary of her father's death was coming up and I wanted to ask if she wanted his old watch. Not the expensive one. The everyday one he wore to work. She'd always said she wanted something that smelled like him. We talked for 47 minutes. I know because I checked my phone log when I got home that night. I told her about Marcus getting promoted. About Elena's new dog. About how I was thinking of repainting the guest bathroom. The funeral conversation was maybe 4 minutes of that call. She asked how I was handling it. I said some days were harder than others. She asked what I missed most. I said coming home to someone who already knew how my day went. That was it. The recording made it sound like I couldn't hold a thought. Like I asked the same question 3 times because I forgot I'd already asked it. I pulled out my phone and recorded myself listening to the file. Just in case. Then I took a picture of her laptop screen with the file name visible. Then I left the casserole on her counter with a note that said, "Feel better." I drove home with my hands shaking on the wheel. The next morning, I called Harris and Associates. A divorce lawyer, technically, but my friend Carol used them when her husband tried to hide assets. I didn't know who else to call. There's no directory for, my daughter made me sound senile and I don't know why. A woman named Attorney Harris herself took my call. That should have been my first clue that something was very wrong. Lawyers don't answer their own phones unless they smell blood. I told her everything. The recording. The laptop. The way Cora smiled when she saw me. Attorney Harris was quiet for a long time. Then she asked me a question that made my stomach drop. "Has anyone asked you to sign anything related to your medical care? Or your finances? Or your late husband's estate?" I said no. She asked if I was sure. I said yes. Then I remembered the paperwork Cora had me sign 6 weeks ago. Something about updating family medical history for her new primary care doctor. She said it was routine. She said every practice does it now. I never got a copy. Attorney Harris had me at her office by noon the next day. Not her conference room. Her actual private office, door closed, blinds drawn. She poured me water from a glass pitcher and sat on the same side of the desk as me. That's when I knew she wasn't treating this like a consultation. She was treating it like a debrief. I told her about the paperwork Cora had me sign 6 weeks ago. She said it was for her doctor. I didn't read it. I never read anything my kids put in front of me. That's the truth, and it makes me sick to admit it. Harris pulled up something on her computer and turned the screen toward me. Does your daughter have a fiancé named Damien? I almost laughed. Cora has been single for 3 years. She told me her last relationship ended because the guy couldn't handle her standards. No, I said. She's not seeing anyone. Harris turned the screen further. It was a credit report. My credit report. And there, in the inquiries section, was a hard pull from a jewelry store in the next county. $28,000. Date of purchase, 8 months ago. Someone bought an engagement ring, Harris said. Using your credit. The payment history is clean because someone's been making minimum payments from a joint account shared by your daughter and a Damian Reyes. I stared at the screen. 8 months ago. That meant Cora had been engaged for 8 months and never mentioned it. Never brought him to Sunday dinner. Never posted a photo. Never even said his name. Why would she hide her own engagement? I asked. Harris closed the laptop. The same reason she'd edit a recording to make you sound incompetent. She's building a case, Diana. And she's been building it for a while. I asked what kind of case. Harris took a breath. The kind lawyers take before they tell you something you don't want to hear. Guardianship, she said. Or conservatorship. Depending on the state. She files a petition saying you can't manage your own affairs. She provides evidence, like that recording, to support it. A judge appoints her as your legal guardian. She controls your money, your house, your medical decisions. You don't get a vote. I asked what would happen to my husband's estate. The house he built. The life insurance he left. The trust for the kids. That becomes hers to manage, Harris said. Including paying herself a salary from your assets. Including selling your home. Including deciding whether you stay in your own house or go to a facility. The room got very quiet. I asked if Cora had filed anything yet. Harris said she'd check. She made a phone call in the hallway. When she came back, her face was different. Harder. The petition was filed 4 days ago, she said. The court date is in 11 days. Your daughter didn't want you to know until she could serve you papers in front of witnesses. I asked what witnesses. Harris said, Thanksgiving. She was planning to serve you at Thanksgiving dinner. I didn't sleep for 3 days. Not an exaggeration. I'd lie in bed and stare at the ceiling and run through every conversation I'd had with Cora in the past year. Every time she asked about my memory. Every time she mentioned forgetting things in front of other people. Every time she looked at me with that small, pitying smile. She wasn't concerned. She was documenting. On day 4, Harris called with a name. A forensic audio analyst out of the city. Expensive. $350 an hour. She said I could pay or she could front it and add it to my bill. I paid. His name was Preston. He worked out of a strip mall office between a vape shop and a nail salon. I almost turned around. Then I remembered that the fanciest lawyers I'd ever met worked out of buildings with water damage. Expertise doesn't decorate. I gave him my phone. The recording I'd made of Cora's laptop playing the edited file. He asked if I had the original conversation somewhere. Any copy? Any backup? I thought for a minute. Then I remembered. Cora and I talk on speaker. I always have. My hearing isn't what it used to be. And 6 months ago, when we had that funeral conversation, I was at home. Alone. My landline records calls automatically. A feature Marcus set up for me after his father died so I could review anything important. I drove home. Found the digital log. The call was archived. I sent it to Preston. He called me 4 hours later. His voice was different than it had been that morning. Sharper. Your daughter didn't just edit this, he said. She edited it across 7 separate cuts. She removed entire sentences. She spliced in pauses from a different part of the conversation. She lowered the pitch on 3 of your responses to make you sound slower. I asked if he could prove it. Easily, he said. But that's not the interesting part. He paused. There's a second audio file embedded in the metadata. She recorded herself practicing. My hand tightened on the phone. I ran a recovery on the original file structure, Preston said. She recorded a voice memo first. Then she recorded your conversation. Then she edited them together. The practice recording is still there. Corrupted, but recoverable. He asked if I wanted to hear it. I said yes. He played it. Cora's voice, clear as a bell, talking to herself in an empty room. Okay, ask her about Dad's funeral again, that's where she gets emotional and repeats herself. Wait for her to say, I miss him, twice. That's the part we use. Then ask about the watch. She'll get confused about which watch. That's easy to cut around. She rehearsed how to manipulate me. She practiced. Then she called and did it. I hung up. Drove to Marcus's house. Didn't call first. Just showed up at his door at 9 o'clock at night with red eyes and a phone full of evidence. He took one look at me and said, "What did she do?" I played him the practice recording. Marcus sat down on his own front steps. Put his head in his hands. Stayed there for a long time. Then he said, "She's been telling everyone you're losing it. For a year and a half." I didn't want to believe her. Marcus drove me to Elena's apartment that same night. Elena cried. Then she got angry. Then she opened her nightstand drawer and pulled out her phone. I have voicemails, she said. From Cora. From the last 8 months. She played one. Hey. Just so you know, Mom got confused at the grocery store again. Had to have a manager help her find her car. I'm really worried. I think we need to talk about next steps. I hadn't been to a grocery store in 9 months. I used delivery. Marcus set it up. Elena played another. Mom asked me the same question 3 times yesterday. About your job. She doesn't remember you got promoted. I'm keeping a log. Just so we have documentation. I remembered that conversation perfectly. I asked about her job. She said she was happy. I asked if she'd gotten the promotion Marcus mentioned. She said yes. I asked if she liked her new office. That was 3 questions. All different. All normal. Cora turned curiosity into dementia. I hired the private investigator that night. Harris had a name. A former state investigator named Kellen. Expensive again. I didn't care. Kellen worked fast. 3 days. Damian Reyes, age 34. 2 bankruptcies. No fixed address in the past 18 months. Currently living in an extended stay hotel 30 minutes from Cora's apartment. Paid for with cash. Kellen dug deeper. Found a connection to 2 other families. Widowed mothers in neighboring states. Both had adult daughters who filed for guardianship. Both mothers died before the court dates. Both deaths ruled natural causes. Both daughters received life insurance payouts within 60 days. Same lawyer represented both daughters. Same lawyer Cora is using now. I asked Kellen if he could prove anything criminal. He said, not yet. But I can prove Damian Reyes opened a $500,000 life insurance policy on you 3 weeks ago. Sentinel Life. Beneficiary, Cora. The contestability period ends in 9 days. 9 days until she could kill me and get paid. I stopped shaking somewhere in that moment. The fear burned off. What was left felt like concrete. I called Harris. File everything, I said. Preemptive motion. Restraining order. Notification to Sentinel Life. I want her served before she can serve me. Harris asked if I was sure. I said, she practiced making me sound dead before she planned to make me dead. I'm sure. The next 48 hours were a chess match Cora didn't know she was playing. Harris filed the preemptive motion to dismiss the incompetency petition at 8 a.m. on a Thursday. She attached Preston's forensic report. All 7 edits. The recovered practice recording. The metadata showing the file was created 6 months ago but last modified 3 days before Cora showed it to her lawyer. By 10 a.m., Cora's lawyer had received a copy. By noon, Harris had filed the restraining order request against Damian Reyes. Supporting exhibit, Kellen's report on 2 dead mothers and 2 fast payouts. No criminal charges yet. Just enough to make a judge pause. By 2 p.m., Sentinel Life had been notified of potential fraud. Harris sent them the petition, the forensic report, and Kellen's findings. She attached a note: if your client dies within the contestability period, my office will request a criminal investigation into every claim your company paid to this beneficiary's associates. Sentinel Life froze the policy at 4:17 p.m. I know the exact time because Harris texted me a screenshot of the confirmation email. Marcus and Elena came over that night. We sat in my living room. The same living room where their father taught them to play cards. The same couch where Cora used to fall asleep during movies. Marcus had a flash drive. Garage security footage from his property. Cora had been storing boxes there. She didn't know the camera covered the back corner where she sat in her car. I pulled everything from the last 2 years, Marcus said. She practiced in her car. Out loud. Multiple times. He played a clip. Cora, alone in her driver's seat, gesturing like she was having a conversation with someone not there. Then she started crying and said she felt confused. No, wait, she started crying while saying she felt confused. That's better. That's more convincing. She was rehearsing how to fake tears. Elena handed me her phone. I texted Cora after you left my place. Just asking how she was. She sent me this. I read the screen. Elena, how are you? Cora, honestly? Mom won't be a problem much longer. I just need you to trust me. Elena hadn't responded. But she kept the screenshot. 3 witnesses. 3 pieces of evidence. 3 people Cora thought she had fooled. The trap needed bait. Cora didn't know the petition was being dismissed. She didn't know the restraining order was pending. She didn't know the life insurance was frozen. As far as she knew, she was still winning. That was the plan. Let her believe it until the last possible second. Harris advised me to act normal. Not friendly. Just normal. Return Cora's calls. Answer her texts. Let her think I was still the confused, declining mother she'd been building for 18 months. So I did. She called on Friday afternoon. I let it ring 3 times before picking up. Small pause. Just long enough to seem like I was struggling to find the phone. Hi, sweetheart, I said. My voice softer than usual. A little breathless. Hi, Mom. How are you feeling? The question landed differently now. Every "how are you feeling" was a data point. A check-in disguised as concern. She was documenting my response. I'm okay, I said. A little tired. I think I forgot to eat lunch again. I hadn't. I'd had a tuna sandwich and an apple at exactly 12:30. But she didn't need to know that. Mom. You have to take care of yourself. Her voice was perfect. Worried. Loving. A daughter who just wanted her mother to be safe. You're right, I said. I know. I just get scattered sometimes. Scattered. A word she'd used in front of Marcus 6 months ago. Mom seems scattered lately. I was giving her exactly what she wanted. She asked if I'd talked to any doctors lately. I said no. She asked if I wanted her to help me find one. I said that would be nice. She said she'd make some calls. I said thank you. We hung up. I sat in my kitchen and stared at the wall for a long time. Not because I was confused. Because I was angry in a way I'd never been angry before. Cold anger. The kind that doesn't raise your voice or break things. The kind that remembers everything. Harris called at 6 p.m. The judge had signed the restraining order against Damian Reyes. He would be served within 48 hours. The preemptive motion to dismiss was scheduled for the same day as Cora's original petition. Same courtroom. Same judge. But this time, Cora wouldn't be the petitioner. She wouldn't know that until she walked in. Harris asked if I wanted to warn Marcus and Elena about the court date. I said yes. But not to testify unless called. I wanted them in the audience. I wanted Cora to see them sitting behind me. I wanted her to understand, in that room, that she had lost them before she ever lost the case. Marcus texted me that night, "Whatever you need." Elena texted, "I'm sorry I didn't see it sooner." I didn't reply to either. Not because I was angry. Because I needed them to sit with their own guilt for a few more days. That guilt would make them useful in court. Witnesses don't hesitate when they're trying to forgive themselves. Court day. 11 days after I found the recording. 9 days after the life insurance freeze. Cora still didn't know. I wore navy blue. Conservative. The same dress I wore to my husband's funeral. Not for sentiment. For symbolism. Cora would recognize it. Let her sit with that. Marcus sat to my left. Elena to my right. Neither spoke. Marcus's jaw was tight. Elena kept her hands folded in her lap like she was praying. Cora walked in at 9:47 a.m. She looked perfect. Cream blazer. Hair blown out. A leather portfolio under her arm like a young executive walking into a board meeting. Damian wasn't with her. Of course he wasn't. He was probably already gone. The restraining order was served yesterday morning. Kellen confirmed Damian checked out of the extended stay at 6 a.m. Cora didn't know that either. She saw me first. Her smile was small. Sympathetic. The smile of a daughter about to save her confused mother from herself. Then she saw Marcus. Her smile flickered. Then she saw Elena. The flicker became a freeze. She stopped walking. Her lawyer, a man in a cheap suit with expensive shoes, touched her elbow and whispered something. She kept moving. But her shoulders were higher now. Tighter. The judge was a woman in her 60s. Gray hair. Glasses on a chain. She looked like someone who had seen every kind of family cruelty and stopped being surprised 20 years ago. Cora's lawyer spoke first. Standard guardianship petition. Concerns about the respondent's cognitive decline. Supporting documentation included. He held up the recording. The judge looked at me. Is this your voice, Mrs. Diana? Yes, Your Honor. And do you recall this conversation? Yes. But not the way it's presented. Cora's lawyer objected. The judge overruled him. Harris stood up. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't gesture. She simply walked to the court clerk and handed over a flash drive. Your Honor, the the respondent has retained a forensic audio analyst. His report, included in our preemptive filing, demonstrates that the recording submitted by the petitioner has been edited across 7 separate points. The original conversation is also on that drive. As is a second recording, recovered from the same file, of the petitioner practicing her questions in advance. The courtroom went silent. Cora's lawyer asked for a recess. The judge denied it. Harris continued. We have also submitted evidence that the petitioner has been telling family members for 18 months that the respondent is experiencing cognitive decline. We have witness statements from both of the respondent's other children. And we have voicemails in which the petitioner states, and I quote, "Mom won't be a problem much longer." Cora turned around. Looked at Elena. Her eyes were wet. Not with remorse. With fury. Elena didn't look away. The judge played the practice recording. Cora's voice filled the courtroom. Ask her about Dad's funeral again, that's where she gets emotional and repeats herself. Cora's lawyer stopped objecting. He just sat there. His face said everything. She didn't tell him about the practice recording. The judge looked at Cora over her glasses. Ms. Cora. Do you understand that fabricating evidence is a crime? Cora opened her mouth. Closed it. For the first time in her life, she had nothing to say. The judge dismissed the guardianship petition with prejudice. Cora can never file again. She also referred the fabricated evidence to the district attorney's office for possible criminal charges. Harris said it could be nothing. Or it could be a felony. Depends on how hard they want to push. I don't care which way it lands. That's not my job anymore. Cora approached me in the hallway outside the courtroom. Marcus stepped between us before she could speak. Elena put her hand on my arm. Mom, Cora said. I was trying to protect you. I looked at her. Really looked. The woman standing in front of me wasn't my daughter. Not the one I raised. Not the one who used to hold my hand during thunderstorms or cry at the end of Disney movies. That child was gone. Replaced by someone who rehearsed manipulation in her car and practiced tears in front of a mirror. I didn't say any of that. I just said, "You're making it weird." Her face collapsed. Because she remembered. She said those exact words to me 3 years ago when I tried to have a serious conversation about why she never came to Sunday dinner anymore. Mom, you're making it weird. Dismissive. A wave of the hand. Now I was saying it to her. In a courthouse hallway. With her brother and sister standing behind me like witnesses at an execution. She started crying. Real tears this time. Or maybe practiced ones. I couldn't tell anymore. That's what she took from me. The ability to know when my own child was being honest. I turned and walked away. The aftermath took 6 months. Damian Reyes was picked up in Nevada. 2 of the families he targeted had surviving relatives who came forward after Kellen's report went public. He's in federal custody now. Fraud charges. Conspiracy. They're still investigating the deaths. Cora wasn't charged. Not enough evidence she knew about the other families. But Sentinel Life kept the policy frozen. Her name is in a database now. Insurance companies share information. She lost the fiancé. The money. The house she thought she'd inherit. The siblings who won't return her calls. The narrative she spent 18 months building. She lives in a studio apartment now. Works retail. I know because Marcus still checks. I told him to stop. He won't. I didn't rebuild with miracles. I rebuilt by subtraction. Sold my husband's house. Bought a smaller one. No guest room. No reason for anyone to stay over. Marcus handles my finances now. Elena handles my medical appointments. We have dinner every Sunday. Just the 3 of us. I don't miss Cora. That's the part one didn't expect. I thought I'd grieve. Instead, I feel lighter. Like I spent years carrying something I didn't know was heavy until I put it down. The other day, Marcus asked if I'd ever forgive her. I thought about it. Really thought. I'll forgive her when she admits what she did, I said. Not the recording. Not the petition. Not the insurance policy. The part where she looked at me and decided I was worth more dead than alive. Marcus nodded. Didn't argue. He knows. The recording is saved on my phone. I don't listen to it. But I keep it. Not for revenge. For proof. That I wasn't crazy. That I wasn't confused. That my daughter tried to erase me and I refused to disappear. Some nights I sit on my new porch and watch the streetlights come on. No casseroles in the passenger seat. No keys to anyone's apartment. No daughter who smiles while she practices your funeral. It's quiet. It's mine.